Hi, everybody. You know, on the Beauty Outlaw, I have to give a shout out to my sponsor first, and that's SaunaSpace. You know I love my sauna. I can't live without it. And I love most about SaunaSpace is that it's near red light and it's incandescent. So I love to get hot, sweaty, and get my mitochondria banging for the day, clear up my brain fog. I do it at night before I sleep sometimes. I sleep like a baby. So go to SaunaSpace now and pick yours up. And type in the Beauty Outlaw code, Beauty Outlaw, you get 10% off. So thank you, SaunaSpace, for keeping us well, healthy, and living a vibrant, long life. Welcome to the Beauty Outlaw, and today's episode is really special. I'm sitting down with Christy Barry and her beautiful daughter, Marissa, two incredible hairdressers, 2 generations, and one beautiful story of mentorship. Christy's passing the torch to Marissa, but don't get it twisted. Marissa isn't just getting started in business. She's been behind her chair for several years. She's a total rock star, and she's in her early 20s, and she's making a brand name for herself in the industry. So if you've ever wondered what it looks like to transition a legacy, raise a powerhouse, and start young and succeed, this episode is for you. So welcome, guys, to the Beauty Outlaw. I've got 2 amazing hairdressers here today, and I actually know them personally. They're both my patients, actually. And I love this story because I'm calling this episode, I have to look at it because I really do love it. It's Passing the Brush. Mom is passing the brush to her daughter. Mom was a hairdresser for a long time, and I'm going to let you tell your story.
Okay.
And Marissa's been a hairdresser for a shorter amount of time, but still she's killing it, like I said in my intro. And this transition of mentorship is beautiful to me. So we'll start with Mom, Christy.
Okay.
When did you become a hairdresser? When did your journey start?
So I became a hairstylist right out of, well, I did, just like Marissa, we both kind of have the same story, which is kind of funny. But right out of, I did 1 semester of junior college, and I wanted to actually be a special effects makeup artist.
Cool.
So I went into doing my classes, pretty sure I was failing all of them, but I loved my special effects class, and my teacher told me, you should go to cosmetology school. If this is something that you want to break into, you know, this is going to be a hard thing to get into. If you want to do special effects, get into the Hollywood world and things like that. And I went to cosmetology school and I started loving doing hair. So this was probably 33 years ago. Got into went to school, did all that, got into a great salon, assisted, loved it, did about 10 years there, and then started having kids.
And
kiddos. Started doing hair at home. So that's my story.
That was the simple transition, right? Because you still loved what you did.
Loved what I did.
But you have little ones now.
Yes.
And that's hard to do, but that's also not easy to do at home with little ones.
No. They were running around, you know, in their diapers, and I was just doing hair, you know, friends and family and things like that. But that's just what I've been doing all since then.
Wow.
Since Marissa was little itty bitty.
So Marissa, how many years has it been now since you were in school?
3 years, which
3
is
years.
crazy. I feel like it's flown by, but I also feel like I've been doing it forever. So, yeah.
Because you
3
have.
years. Yeah.
You grew up with this.
Yeah,
So did
exactly.
you hang out a lot in your mom's little salon at the house?
Yeah, well,
and
she
watch
did,
Mom?
like she said, she did friends and family. So, like, if we had cousins or family members in there, I would always be in there, and I'm always watching her. And so it was something I was always around. It was not necessarily something that I saw myself doing originally, but I loved it since I went to beauty school. I fell in love with it.
So what was that? Because you did this right out of high school, and I really want you to speak to that 17-year-old girl or boy, that gentleman, I should say, woman or gentleman, that wants to transition. They're just not, like your mom said, like college just wasn't feeding the soul.
Yeah.
Couldn't see yourself do anything. Is that what happened with you?
Yeah, so my senior year of high school actually got shut down because of COVID. And so I went to a community college. I was still playing soccer there. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I think I was taking education classes, like elementary education, and I just didn't like it. I hated school. I wasn't doing good in school because it was quarantine. Everything was online.
Yeah.
And being around hair, and my mom's still doing it at home, is something that I was always around. So it seemed like an easy transition for that. It was something I always knew. But at the same time, like, it wasn't necessarily something that I saw myself doing when I was growing up. I wanted to be a nurse, and I wanted to be a teacher, and I wanted to be around kids and that type of stuff. So it was definitely a weird transition to do that. And it was a little scary because I was like, is this something that I want to do? Do I want to commit a year of school, a year and a half of school to do something that I maybe don't necessarily want to do? And I ended up loving it. And I graduated in 11 months, I think it was. Banged it out, and I love it. It's been great.
You kind of just walked in a door, I guess.
Yeah.
You just gave something a try because you didn't know what to do.
Yeah. I think a lot of my friends at the time were in the same boat. I mean, you weren't allowed to go to school at the time.
We were in California. I always try to. It was really bad in California.
Like, people were paying for these universities and staying and doing their classes in their room. So it's like no one really knew the direction they wanted to go. I think people are still struggling with that. Is like, did I take the right major? Am I doing the right thing? And so I think I got really lucky finding something that I really love so early, because I think people still struggle with that are my age. So yeah,
I think so too.
yeah.
When how did that look? It was COVID. So did you do most your schooling online with hairdressing?
So since I did one semester at a community college.
I'm sorry. Can you hear that? That beeping, that thudding?
I don't hear it in the headphones.
Oh, because in the headphone. Do you hear that?
I think it's a washing machine or something.
I think they're doing hitting something
They're
outside.
doing something
Construction.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
We'll talk louder.
Yeah. It was bothering me.
So that first semester of community college was all online. Everything was done in my bedroom. We were playing soccer. We had to be 20 feet apart in masks and get tested every day. It wasn't worth it to me to go to school and I wasn't learning anything.
Yeah.
I felt like I was just sitting in my room and listening to somebody talk about English. Like, it wasn't like, I don't know. It was weird.
Well, you're a social person.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
You're a social human that needs interaction to
Yeah.
thrive. And so not having that community,
Yeah.
it wasn't driving you.
It wasn't. And then, but I think starting that first semester of community college, I think got me past the super restricted part of COVID. So when I started beauty school, we could all be in the same room, and we still had to wear masks.
Okay.
And all that stuff, and there were still restrictions and all that stuff, but I was able to go. Whereas a lot of my old coworkers actually did beauty school online, which is crazy. I don't know how you do beauty school online.
I don't either.
You're learning how to cut hair through a screen. It's crazy to me. I don't understand it, but
That's one of the downfalls of what we're seeing now in this hairdressing field. We're seeing a lot of people not have the sharpened skill, but yet they graduate with this big opinion of themselves.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And branding themselves because you can on social media to make things appear really not the way they are. And there's no shade on those individuals. It's shade on the time we were in.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate.
Yeah.
How did you get clients? Were you allowed to cut their hair?
Beauty school was interesting. You don't do a lot. In beauty school, we actually weren't allowed to take clients at first. Everything was on doll heads. Everything was, we were doing makeup on each other with masks on. Like, it was definitely interesting. But as soon as we started taking clients, people were allowed to come in. I think they had to be tested and all this stuff. So it was weird, but we took some clients. But most of my clients I got from high school. Like, my high school friends would come into beauty school and I'd do their hair. And so that's super fun, reconnecting with high school, because I never got to say goodbye because of COVID. So it's nice. That part's nice.
It is. I see that as you both being young and starting that really, it's the most volume of friendships you'll have in your life.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's a great way to step in and say, I'm doing something new. I have a similar story. Starting right out of high school, became a manicurist. And all my friends, I did all their nails in a small town. I started my own business. And hence, you know, I grew into that. I stepped in a door I didn't want to go into. It was summertime. And my girlfriend between high school and college, and my girlfriend said, take manicuring with me. So we did. And I'm not going to do this, but I'll do it with her. Yeah. And look, you step in a door. It's not something you saw yourself doing. And I like that you can speak, both of you can speak to younger people about something besides regular college.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because it's not as necessary anymore.
Yeah. I remember walking with Marissa during that COVID time. We hiked and walked because there's nothing.
A lot of mom-daughter quality
a lot
time.
of daughter. And we were talking about, you know, everybody was, you know, applying for colleges and this and that. And she knew she kind of didn't want to go down that route, but you kind of feel this pressure of like, but I should be doing that because that's what everybody else is doing. And she said, I want to be a mom. I want to have a family. I still want to work and I still want to be able to provide. And that's kind of what I always loved about being a hairstylist is you could kind of make your own schedule. When my kids were young, I worked, you know, when they were in school, and then I was always home at the end of the day for them. And it's just been a great career for mothers. And she knew she wanted to do that too. So I think that that's what kind of sparked her, like, oh, maybe I'll look into that.
I think you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
You quietly spoke to her through your life lessons and who you are. Because without, you know, having an affinity and looking up to your mom in life, kids typically don't walk into that legacy, move into the same field. They're usually like, no, I'm not going to do that. Do you think COVID kind of spurred that in you a little bit?
I think
that you got that time with mom? And
yeah, exactly. I think that we got super close during COVID, especially after high school. And I think we got super close, and I was like, oh, you're kind of cool. Like,
Mom, you're cool.
You're kind of cool. Wow.
So it's fun, and seeing why she does it and now being in it. And I'm like, this is awesome. This is an awesome job. You make your own schedule. You get these relationships. Oh, I keep hitting this. Sorry. Okay. You get relationships with these people that you would never think. Like, these clients have become some of my closest friends. And that's so awesome. And I love hearing about their families and their stories. And you kind of get that relationship without.
You're a counselor, a therapist,
Yes.
All
a
of the
shoulder
above.
to cry on.
Secret keeper.
Secret keeper.
Exactly.
So a good hairdresser can keep a good secret, right? I was going to ask you, what's the biggest secret you've ever had to keep? But I guess
My mouth is shut.
your lips are sealed.
I got some good stories, but they're sealed for sure.
That's one of the bonuses of being a confidant to someone, them entrusting you. There's your mom would know this more because she's been doing it longer, but there's a lot of transitional pain involved with our industry because in different seasons we have different clients and they sometimes leave us and move on to someone else and we have a connection. It's a very heartfelt industry that you both are in.
Yeah.
And it can be painful in that way in times, but
for sure.
people change and want different things and move on, right?
Yeah, for sure. Exactly.
It doesn't mean you cannot take it personally.
Exactly.
You have to learn to not take it personally
Yes.
for sure.
Yeah.
But
And
I
have
think
boundaries.
You do get to a point, you know, later where I'm like, I get it. Like, I didn't have time for them, or my schedule didn't work for them, or my prices didn't work for, you know, whatever it is, you know, people are gonna. And then sometimes they come begging back, right?
Yes.
Like, oh, wait,
That
I missed
happens
you.
too.
Yeah.
They need to go. It's like the boyfriend that you were so good to, and he breaks up with you, and because he wants to date somebody else.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden he's like,
They come crawling back.
They come crawling back real quick. They're like,
Yes.
wow, that was a good thing I had.
Yes. And you welcome them
Exactly.
with open arms.
That's
and,
right.
Yeah.
Well,
Happy to have
maybe
them
you don't welcome.
Yeah.
It depends on the situation.
So, Marissa, you are fully walking in your mother's path because you are getting married.
Yes.
You met
getting
someone and
married.
you're getting married.
Yes.
Congratulations.
So crazy. Thank you so much. It's been so fun. Yeah.
So, tell us a little bit about that love story. And do you cut his hair?
No. I don't do men's cuts.
Oh, you don't?
I don't. Yeah. I've tried. It's not my passion. I'd rather be highlighting and doing women's cuts, but I don't think he would let me cut his hair.
So he's
Very
loyal to
particular.
his hair.
Yes, he loves his hairdresser. But
That's great.
yeah, so our moms actually set us up, which is such a fun story. His family lived in a different state, and they moved here, and they needed a hairdresser. Connected with one of her friends who they went to college with, and they set him up. And my mom did her hair for about a year. About a year, and every time I would see her, she'd be like, "I have a son who's your age," and blah blah blah. And I'm like, "Who is this lady in my house telling me about her son?" Long story short, he flew down, and because he was going to college at the time, and we met up and started dating like 5 days later, and then 10 months later we were engaged.
And getting married here soon, July?
July, yeah,
July.
4 months.
4 months.
I know,
Wow.
crazy.
And you are, he was in school for a long time, not to share his full story,
Yeah.
but he wants to be, his goal someday is to be
go
a
to medical
physician
school,
or
yeah.
be in some realm of that. So his passion is moving forward.
Yeah.
And you are the foundation of the family right now because you have your own business.
Yeah. It's been awesome. It's been really fun. I think I never saw myself, again, growing up, I never saw myself as being a foundation in a family, like as far as the like money-wise and stuff. So it's been like a weird transition, like, I'm making all this money. It's great. But it's been fun. It's been awesome. Yeah.
I that's just fantastic.
Yeah.
When you started, you did not start with your mom and with her. You started assisting.
I assisted at a great salon. Love them. But now I'm in a suite by myself. I made it to a point where I can do that. A lot of people don't get to do that. So I feel very blessed, and it's been awesome. And I think I love being in my own little space. I love having my own little space. It's been great. I think my clients really love it. I think they like the smaller space where it's just one-on-one and not in like a big salon with 20 chairs,
Yeah.
So
What's the stuff you miss about that, though?
I miss talking to people.
Yeah.
For sure. You talk to I'm in Solas, so you talk to the people next to you and your neighbors and stuff, but it's not the same as having a relationship or a friendship with these girls who you're with 8 hours a day, So it's definitely different, but booking myself in a way where someone's constantly in my chair, it doesn't feel too different. So
Do you explain the solo space to the people listening now or girls interested in getting into hairdressing, the difference between that and the possibility? Talk a little bit about the price and what that looks like.
The price difference actually shocked me when I was looking into maybe doing a suite by myself. I think it depends on which route you're going. If you're going into a commission-based salon, you get paid hourly and then a commission on top of that, and they take a percentage of what you make, right? And then you should get products and that type of stuff. Or if you go to a booth renting salon, you rent out a booth, rent out a chair, and that's what you get the whole week. You pay for your own products, you pay for everything else. You just get the chair. And then Solas is you're paying for all your own stuff, but you get your own salon. It's amazing. You own your own salon. And so it's a little bit cheaper than renting in like a big salon, actually.
But a lot more responsibility.
A lot more responsibility, yes, for sure, because it is your own salon. You're doing all the cleaning. You're doing all the trash taking out. You don't have your 8 other people that are taking out the trash too. You're doing all the laundry by yourself. It's great. I love it. But some people maybe can't handle doing that all by themselves. They just want to go in and go out, and that's great. Then a commission-based salon is great for you. But if you want to take on a little bit more responsibility, and I think it's awesome. You get your own little space.
That's great. Well, you like your mom.
Yeah, exactly.
You have your own little
Yeah.
space.
Yeah.
And you went from salon.
I worked at a commission salon
Okay.
which was great for building and all that because
Yeah.
they provided all of our hair color and product and all that, and we made, I think I made like 50% of my services, and then the longer you did that, you made,
it
went up to
increased,
60
right?
and went up to, yeah. But it was great because you didn't have any overhead, you know, as far as product and things like that. Some salons I'm hearing now are not doing it that way, which I don't understand that. I don't understand how you could work at a commission salon and not have them help you out
You
with
don't
the
get the
product
commission.
and things like that.
Yeah.
But, you know, I was lucky enough to work at a great salon to build. And then, and then when you're on your own, you're on your own. Everything is...
Yeah.
But it is nice to be... I think that I always will miss working in a salon with other people. I loved that.
That
I
community.
loved the community and the relationship, the family feel.
The chatter,
Yes.
right? Behind the noise. Sometimes
Or if you have a...
just
you know,
listening to that buzz.
Yes, and if you have like a crazy color correction and you don't know what to
What
do,
do
you're
I
like,
do?
Can you go walk by real quick and, you know,
Yeah.
let me know what you think, you know, so like stuff like that.
Not
is
only that, being in a
great.
big salon, it can make you look less crazy.
Right. There's pros
Because
and
there's
cons to
craziness
all of these.
happening.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes. There's pros and cons to both, really. Really.
When you started, Christy, because I was in the industry too, so I kind of know this. There's been a real transition into how you started. I mean, you just came out, started your own business, worked at a salon, did commission. Mm-hmm. They have to assist.
Yeah. I assisted too.
Oh, did you?
I assisted too, yes. Yeah.
Okay. But it
Yeah,
wasn't
I
like a mandated thing, right?
No, it wasn't
like
but
some-
I highly recommend
Oh,
it.
I
mean,
agree.
I feel like I learned everything in that year. I worked at a great salon that really had like an assistant program.
Oh.
And at the end of our year, they would send us for a week to, you know, Vidal Sassoon back in the day, you know, was like the big haircutting, you know.
Oh, yeah,
big
that
wig,
was
you know,
big.
they would send us to Santa Monica for a week and pay for it all, and we
Which
would
they
have
don't
just
have nowadays.
really
They don't.
great training.
Yeah.
Which I recommend if everybody
Yeah.
could do that. That was huge.
Yeah.
And then they help you build, right? Because they've invested so much into you.
Yeah. There's we still have, I think there's a Paul Mitchell for school.
Yes.
I have my thoughts.
Same.
But is that, well, it wasn't a necessary path for you.
no.
Can we talk about the price difference?
Yeah.
Do you know anything about,
It's
about
like
the price
tens
difference?
of thousands of dollars
Yeah.
difference. I did it mine through a community college. You learn from the same exact textbook. We went through, I had a friend who was also going to Tony and Guy, and we were learning the same chapter every week, did the same things. The only difference is the instructors. I do have to say the community college instructors are a little iffy, but you don't learn anything in beauty school. They teach you how to
Take
pass
the
the
test.
test. They teach you the sanitary stuff, the nail diseases, the facial, you know, like all the things. We're really going to learn everything assisting. That's
The
what I learned
hands-on
every-
portion. That's where you're going to learn to be a
Yeah.
good hairdresser.
Yeah, exactly.
You learned safety and the theory behind.
And they don't even have a practical test anymore
for California.
Shameful.
for the cosmetology license.
Shameful.
Yeah, just a written.
Shameful.
I don't get how people. I mean, it was canceled 2 weeks before I took my test. So it was nice at the time because I was like, oh my gosh, such a relief. I only took the written.
That was the scariest part, was that hands-on test.
It was the written was probably one of the easiest tests. And I'm not a test taker, that's why I went to be
Well, the hands-on is where you see if the safety measures they're taking the
Exactly.
test for, they actually have learned.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
You drop a comb. You do
What do you
the
do?
right
Yeah,
thing. They see that when you do your practical test.
Yeah.
And I feel like maybe the pendulum will swing back.
I think so too. I think people will start realizing like maybe we do need this test. Maybe we shouldn't just I mean, everybody's different test takers. Some people are better in the
Absolutely.
practical. Some people are better than the written. I feel like it's going to swing back for sure because we're going
sure.
to see these people that are coming out of school and taking the test who have no idea what they're doing, haven't assisted, and it's going to be interesting.
Well, you could really, I'm not scaring anybody, but you could really,
It's dangerous.
you can harm someone
Yeah.
with chemicals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you don't know what you're doing, yeah. And if you never do a practical test, how do you know that it's harming somebody? Yeah.
Right. You need to have some sort of baseline. Yeah. I couldn't agree with you more. And there's a lot of mistakes that were made through COVID. We started the podcast talking about that. And it's not just our children, our little children in education. It's all the way to hairdressing school, where they really done and they haven't adapted really to the times. I mean, we have ChatGPT now, we have AI, we have TikTok.
Yeah.
People already know what they know before they even come in. And I think in this industry, we're kind of that last soldier of physicality, where we're actually demonstrating our talents inside of a business and sending people off to live with what we give them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That doesn't exist a lot anymore.
You're people's confidence most of the time.
Yes.
And it's crazy when
You're responsible
when you
for
change,
it.
Yeah, you change your mindset to that, and you start. It's like, whoa,
The responsibility.
the responsibility of like, I'm the reason your confidence is the way it is today.
The one thing, you have your mom, which is great, and you have other friends that are hairdressers. You're in a situation and it's not going good. And you're not sure about, somebody didn't tell you the truth about what was already on their hair.
It happens all the
Right?
time. Yeah, it's
What community do you use to go to quickly
I mean,
to help?
if you know the rules, you know how to break
911.
them. Like, exactly, 911. If you know the rules, you know how to break them. You know how to skew them a little bit in your favor. I think honesty is the best way. A lot of hairstylists really struggle with that. They say, oh, I just slapped some color on and everything's going to be fine. You come back another time and then you're ghosted and you're not talked to because they're scared. They don't know what to do. I think if there's been situations, but there's ever a situation where a client is not fully honest about what they've been putting on their hair and something goes south or something's not the right color or something like that, I straight up tell them, like, this is what's happening. This is what I'm going to do. This is what it's going to look like. This is what we can do today because I did not know about this. And then usually they're like, oh.
They have to take
Yeah.
responsibility.
But I think it's really hard to get to that point as a stylist because you're expected to know everything. You're expected to be perfect, not make mistakes. And everyone's scared of social media. Everyone's scared, like, hairstylists ruined my hair. Hairstylist horror story. And nobody wants to be that.
That exists.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's
So
crazy right now.
If no one else, so you being in that world, and I'm privy to it too. It is real.
Yeah.
People can ruin your social. What would you say? Who you are, your credibility.
Yeah.
And
Your career.
Your career.
Yeah.
And just one little post.
One TikTok.
One TikTok.
One TikTok.
One TikTok.
They don't even have to tag you. People just find you. They don't have to tag you. You could just talk about you, and people will be like, "Oh, it's this person. I found them." I'm like, people have way too much time on their hands,
Internet's
but
loose, yeah.
Yes.
yeah. It's
So how do you combat that nowadays? Me and your mom and I, we didn't have to deal with that.
Yeah.
I'd have to deal with it now.
Yeah.
But I didn't have to deal with it for many years. How do you deal with it?
with just the internet?
Yeah, like what
Yeah.
would you recommend to somebody who has that happen to them? How should they handle it?
I think that people get bored really quickly. I think that it'll affect you. It's something, if it's a mistake, you come out and own it. If it's something that you did, you come out and own it. You tell the truth. No, even if the other person is lying, you always tell the truth. And people usually get over it in about a week. And then they're on to
Do
somebody
you
else.
think you should engage in the fight online?
No. I think you should engage in it privately. I think everything should be done privately. I think it's really silly when people come out on TikTok and start bashing hairstylists or bashing makeup artists. And there's no second side of the story, ever, because you only hear the dramatic.
You never get your day in
Crazy.
court.
Yeah, exactly. So I think everything should be done privately. There are some situations where people have come out and being like, that's actually not true. Here's what actually happened, and it saved them. I think it depends on the situation.
Yeah.
But
I would agree because that could go south too.
It could go south too. Yeah.
Especially if you get another person chiming in and saying, well, they did that to my hair too.
Exactly.
They're not telling the truth.
Exactly.
So you do live, this generation of yours lives in a completely different chapter of hairdressing.
For sure.
But like I try to tell everyone in the beauty industry, you guys are the foundation. You were where it started. You were making people beautiful from Cleopatra days. I mean, the beauty industry was built on the backs of hairdressers. And you're responsible for where it's taken off, especially in aesthetics, that world. What would you say would be the biggest mistake either one of you guys have made in business? That if you could change it or do something different, what would you do? Hi, everybody. This episode is sponsored by Pretty Girl Cosmeceuticals. These products are the best. If you're not using them, you need to use them. You can contact JKH Aesthetics anytime, and we will give you a consultation about how to use these amazing products. We have Glow Girl and Ice Drops. These will keep you young, healthy, and glowing every day of the week. And now, back to the episode. Is there anything that comes to mind? Sometimes it's hard to think of things off the cusp.
I think I would have everybody sign stuff.
Oh.
Yeah.
Sign waivers, sign your life away.
Yeah.
It is so important. I've had a friend recently get sued in hair over something so silly and fixable. So it's like, I think having every client originally, when they sit down in your chair, no matter who it is, no matter what you're doing, if you're just doing a trim, have them sign paper saying,
Absolutely.
yeah, just save yourself the trouble.
What about an intake form? What about a quick 4 questions that are important, like, have you had your hair processed?
Yeah.
Like
Whatever
hair
question,
history,
hair
yeah.
history, and quick. That holds them accountable for
A
their
lot of
end.
people a lot of people do that, and I think it's so smart. I think the people that don't do that are the people that are getting posted on social media because they have no legal way
Yes.
of being like, wait, you're not supposed to do that. So
What type of insurance do you need to have? Is it, can you get it through like your regular insurance broker? How does that work for hairdressing? Do you guys have
We didn't ever have to have that working at the salon, but you do have an insurance, I think, through Solas that you pay for. Yeah.
mine's through Sola.
Okay, so they make sure
Yeah,
that you're covered.
yeah,
And you have also an establishment license?
yeah.
Every individual. This is something people don't understand. I'm not sure about other states, but in California, even doctors, that plastic surgeons I'm talking to, nurses, if you have an esthetician in your office, or even some places have hairdressers, each person is supposed to have an establishment license, including the facility, whether or not they are licensed. So that is the newish rule that a lot of people don't know about. So say somebody walked in here and I had a manicurist, but I did not have, didn't have an establishment license, but they did, I would be in trouble. That would be against the law. Same thing as if you have hairdressers and you're in commission, they're supposed to have an establishment license now. So little shout out to people so they understand, because you don't want to have somebody,
You don't want
the
to get stuck
board,
with something.
no,
Yeah.
you don't want to have the
For
board
sure.
walk in and they're like,
Yeah.
she doesn't have, it's just a way to get money, but she doesn't have us. It's an easy fix. You just
Yeah.
fill out paperwork, but they want to know where you're working.
Yeah.
So that's what it's about.
Yes.
It's about them tracking where you're working and what you're doing. Not like social media is not enough to figure that out.
Yeah.
We have
Exactly.
Venmo, we have another thing. So do you also have a system of operation that you do booking? Do you have a booking system?
I would
Or are
love
you the
one.
booking system?
I would love to get one. It is a lot of work to set it up, but at the same time, it's so worth it. But right now, I'm just texting people, which
Yeah.
is crazy. I have to text everybody the night before.
I kind of don't want people to have control over putting in their own.
That's my issue.
Because everyone's
Get it.
takes a little. Some people take a little more time. Some people take a little
It's
less
so
time.
different for everybody.
Yeah,
You can't just book out a 2-hour thing for someone who has hair down to their butt.
I totally
You know,
agree.
so it's like every service is different. It's hard.
It's that's what you're connected with your clients. Once we start going in that direction, we haven't pulled the trigger here. We don't have full booking even at the Mets. I just can't do it.
Yeah.
Because there's certain people I want to be able to move the
more
needle for
time
them,
and
more
yeah.
time, or not. They booked a 2, and then they're upset because they come in and there wasn't enough time. But
Yeah.
it already is a problem when you're texting.
Yeah.
because
Right.
things get missed in the text chain.
Yeah.
So I agree. I think if when you're individual, I don't think it's such a bad idea to keep it intimate and
Yeah.
connected.
I love it, at least with how busy I am right now. I really love it. I think if I got absurdly busy, I would want something.
Yes.
Just to be able to respond to text. I mean, my job never stops.
Jeez.
That was when you let your mom just be your manager.
Yeah, exactly.
Keep
That's
it,
the
keep
goal.
keep it old school, you know?
I think
there you go.
this is a fantastic idea.
That's always been my
Sounds
goal.
like
is
a
to
good idea.
You know, let her fly and I'll just kind of step back and maybe, you know, do the business part
Fill in
for
the
her.
gaps.
Right.
Yeah.
Let her do the beautiful hair and I'll
and then
do
she'll
the,
have children, and she can do, and you can be the. You can
I'll
be,
take the kids
babysitter.
and do the business
Yeah.
part.
Great.
I love this
Hand 'em
idea.
off. Yeah, I love it.
Moms and daughters.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
what we're working towards. Anyway.
Yeah.
That's the transition.
Yeah.
You've already mentored
It's
her
her
up.
retirement plan right there.
She's done this predominantly because you have,
Yeah.
and because she wants to be a lot like her mom.
Yeah, I hope so.
Of course she does. There would be no
course I
other
do.
reason. Of
Yeah.
course you do. Although now Marissa's a little spicier
A little
is.
bit. A little spicier.
than mom, which is why I think you guys get along so well.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
otherwise, sometimes when you're too much alike, too spicy people makes
Yes.
for really hot sauce.
Yeah. Yeah. Too hot sauce.
We need somebody
Yeah.
to taper it down a little
Yeah.
bit. Okay, so I asked my other hairdresser, what's the trend right now in hair? What's going on?
Sabrina Carpenter.
Oh,
Everybody wants Sabrina Carpenter bangs.
Okay, so Sabrina. So is there
Not everybody can have them, but everybody wants them. Like, it's really hard to try to convince people, like, you don't have a wig on. Because she
Right.
wears a wig, I think,
Yes.
most of the time, or extensions
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah.
But
Well,
that's
it's
the
she's
trend.
theater. You
Yeah.
know.
And but she,
What do you think about wigs? Do you think they'll come in?
I think
to
they're
play?
coming back. I think there's a lot, especially celebrities. I know that Taylor Swift wore a wig at one of her concerts. Someone said there was rumor about Sabrina wearing a wig. So
I mean,
it's like,
why not?
yeah, you're gonna get all sweaty.
I
Might as
mean,
well.
you're sitting. Why take all that time to get ready
Yeah.
when you could be productive doing
Yeah,
something
right.
else and just put a
Exactly.
wig on?
Yeah. So I think they also have gotten to a point where they're super seamless. Like, you would never be able to tell that these girls have wigs on, and then
So Sabrina Carpenter it's the bang thing.
yeah,
Are bangs
the
coming
the
back?
curtain bangs. Yeah.
They're coming back
Oh yeah. The curtain
in
bang.
full force.
Yeah, full force.
That you don't need your Botox anymore.
No,
Yeah.
there you go.
See,
You're gonna go out of business.
stop complaining about your forehead still being able to engage. Get some
Sabrina Carpenter
bangs.
bangs.
Cut some bangs. Yes.
Just cut the Botox bangs, man. I pull those out of me over the years whenever I wanted to.
Yeah.
Just pop those bangs in, and it's a great distraction.
Another thing is, like, super lived in color. Like, color that you could go 8 months without ever doing. And like the root blendy and all that stuff. No one's getting highlights to the root anymore.
Yeah.
Which is something that the biggest difference the way we do hair.
That's a lot of work, though.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to come in more often depending on your hair color
Yeah.
and what you want, right?
It comes from every 6 to 8 weeks. She has a client come in, and I don't see my clients for 6 months.
Yeah. They want to be as blonde as possible. And
Yes.
Yeah.
And
So
it's-
I think that's harder for building too, because I see them less. Where she sees her clients every 6 weeks, I see them every 6 months. So you get slower a little bit faster, but
There's also the aging hair
yeah.
color.
Yes.
Where it's hard, we have the
grays.
mousy, the grays,
grays.
with some of the brown.
Yeah.
And then you got some leftover, you try to put brown in the low lights, but then it fades quickly. It's a nightmare.
Yeah.
It's a whole thing. Yeah.
It's a thing. Okay, you young one, it's a thing. I love how you're saying, 6 months. There's no way.
Yeah. Well, she's learning to do that on me. Like I've been her guinea pig as far as trying all the different things to blend the gray.
I think we've
cover
tried
the gray.
multiple brands on her.
But how often? If you want to have that look that she's talking about, we can have the, what'd you call it? The washed out or the lived-in look. If we want to have the lived-in look at my age, how often do I have to see you?
You got to grow your hair out. You got to grow the grays out.
You got to grow
is
your
the
grays
issue.
out.
A lot of people are actually going fully gray.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is, if you can rock it, great.
Oh, yeah.
You never have to get your hair done. It's amazing.
Or they're doing more of like a gray blending where they could camouflage it a little bit and you're not having that hard line of grow out. But I'm still, every few weeks I'm like, Marissa, you got to put a little something on my...
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she's not having to highlight me every time, which is nice.
Yeah.
That is nice.
Not frying hair off anymore.
It's just the difference. Some people grow out that really pretty gray, and some people, you got 3 or 4 here. It's a weird thing. Okay, it's a weird thing. I've got some gray going on, but I've wanted to do that. And with me and my hair, she's like, okay, well, you're going to need me a little bit more often because you're going to get frustrated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
And so I already hate getting my hair done.
Because you go so often?
Because I only do every 6 weeks.
Oh, okay.
I try to do every 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah.
I hate sitting there.
Yeah. I mean, as a
annoying.
hairdresser, I hate sitting there.
Yeah.
I can't do that. 3-hour appointments, 4-hour appointments. I can't.
The foil after foil.
It goes a lot faster when you're behind the chair.
Yeah.
For sure.
Oh, yeah, you're working.
Yeah.
And the chatting's great and it's
Yeah.
all that. It's just, gosh, it just takes so long. But we do it. We do it.
Yep. Your butt's numb.
Your
you look
butt's
good.
numb. You can't wait to get up and maybe have them move you over
Yeah.
to the
Yeah.
but you never want to go anywhere because you look like tin foil and you got the wrap. It's hasn't changed in many years. Those foils.
Nope, it's all the
still
same.
aluminum foil.
I'm surprised that there's not another way of doing it so far, but
People
it
have
works.
tried with what were they, like a mesh or a
The balayage.
yeah, like
the
those
painting.
the painting, and you put it on like they just don't get hot enough.
No.
Yeah, they've had plastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, they should.
Yeah,
If
plastic.
If you're naturally blonde enough, it works. But the people with darker hair, you can't. Your hair will be orange. You can't do that. Yeah, you need the foils.
Okay, so what about dudes? What
Dudes
about
with what?
dudes? What's going on with the dudes? What do they need
They're
to do?
getting that like fluffy middle part still. That fluffy middle part's coming back from TikTok. It's all TikTok.
the little perm thing.
Yeah, the
A
little
little like llama.
Yeah.
llama.
A little llama
Looks like
fluff.
little llamas, right?
Yeah, sure.
Little llama fluff.
Yeah.
Yeah. I see. What about for them for color? Do they do guys?
A lot of guys don't. There was a situation where people were getting perms for a while. And that was when I was in beauty school. All the teenage, young high school boys would come in and get perms because their hair's straight, and that was the trend, was the fluffy,
Yeah.
curly hair. And when you have straight hair, you can't do that. People were we had a couple friends that were using straightening irons to curl their hair. Like boys, just like make sure that little fluff. But yeah, I feel like they're not coloring their hair anymore. Unless you
Yeah, it's gotten a little more low maintenance, I feel like, for them. Yeah.
And I feel like even guys who are getting gray, just let it go. They don't color it anymore.
So there is one thing I want to discuss because it is happening, and I don't know Miss TikTok over here because I'm a junkie on TikTok
Yeah.
too. It's removing eyelashes in guys. They're getting rid of their eyelashes.
What?
Does anybody not
I
know
haven't
about
seen
this?
that.
Oh,
They're literally taking it. Okay, so what's the thing you clear the neck with? What's that called? That razor
A buzzer.
that you clean?
trimmer?
A buzzer.
I don't do
A
much
buzzer or a trimmer.
Yeah.
Okay, so that you take that and they're trimming
For
and
what
getting rid of
reason?
it's a trend.
I feel like
Check it
guys
out.
always have like the best eyelashes too.
They do, but they're getting they're wiping their eyelashes out. I don't know why,
seen that.
but it's a trend, and now you're going to see it.
Now-
it's
now
probably
it's
going to
gonna be
show
all
up
over.
all
My
over your
phone's
TikTok
listening.
and your Instagram
Yeah, exactly.
for sure. Okay, what is the thing that bugs you the most when you're out in public and you see someone's hair? Because I know what bugs me about their face, but is there something you guys just want to go fix? Or just cringe at? I love cringe. I love that
Stripey
word.
orange highlights.
Stripey
orange
highlights.
like the chunks. I'm a blendy person. I mean, some people rock the chunks, trust me, but the orange I can't do. I'm like, no way you went to a salon and did that.
I was going to say, is that a
I don't know.
at home thing?
I don't know. I feel like I could see everybody's. I know everybody has extensions.
Yes.
I could see them.
Do you have
And-
extensions?
No, I don't. I took mine out.
You had some for a while.
She had
just
some
gave
for a
me
while.
some.
She has some.
Oh, look
and
how
that's
pretty
actually
those
we were
look.
just talking about the other day. I said, "Oh my gosh, I don't want to like be at church and have the person behind me knowing that like that's not my hair." You know, so that was because that's what we see a lot is
You can see.
Yeah.
You can
could
see it.
you know, it's either mismatched, not colored properly, or it's just
Or they're bought off TikTok.
Or they're
Yeah.
bought off TikTok.
Yeah.
Again, TikTok.
I mean, yeah.
What's the differences? So what do you have in your hair now versus what are the options for extensions?
So these are K-tips. They're individual little noodles of hair, I like to call
Okay.
them. They're more customizable, and you can kind of just put them like, you know, every woman has those little front pieces that just, you got the mullet thing going on.
Yeah.
You got no front, you got a long back, so it kind of connects all those dots. You could just put them in the front if you wanted to.
Do they glue on? Do
They're
they?
keratin bonds.
Keratin bonds.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So they're great. I love them. They're my favorite type of extensions to do because I think they look the most natural.
And you can brush right through with a certain type of brush.
Yeah,
I
well,
would
you could use
assume.
any brush. You just can't
Okay.
rip them out of your head.
Okay.
Yeah, you have to be a little bit careful, but just like any extensions. And then there's the beaded wefts, which you put the bead in and then you sew like the normal like weft. They're great for thickness.
If
or
somebody
you want really
needs
long
more
hair.
volume.
Yeah.
And, okay. You need more for it to hold on to, right?
Yeah,
you need,
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. There's a couple other, there's multiple types. People are still coming out with types of extensions.
How
but
much does something like your mom have? What does it cost in our area here,
Yeah.
Orange County? What does that look
think-
like?
It's a little bit different for everybody. Everybody
Mm-hmm.
charges differently. These, I charge by piece.
Okay.
So it's like most people charge $20 a piece. I charge $12 a piece.
Okay.
And it just depends on the person. So that's why it's so hard because you don't know how many you're putting in that person's
Right.
head, you know? But normally it's like 30 to 40 pieces if you're just doing the front. And if you're doing the whole head, it's like 50.
Do they
depends.
you take care of that and they're not buying their hair and bringing
No,
it?
I take
that,
care
those
of all of it. I take care of all of it. And
Okay.
I tell them the price of the hair versus the service. And what's great with K-tips is it's all included. The service is included in the price.
Oh,
So
that is
what you pay-
nice.
yeah.
And how long will that last?
About
Till it
4
grows?
months.
About 4 months.
Yeah.
Will it start to come off? Like will
They'll-
they
they'll
start
grow
to
out with your
like
hair.
eyelashes? They just start to come off, right?
They grow out with your hair. They shouldn't slip or anything
Okay.
because they are bonded to your hair. But you just take them out. The thing with K-tips is you do get a new set. You have to pay for a new set every time. With the wefts, they last about a year, and you get them moved up every 8 weeks. So the price ends up being around the same because you're paying every 4 months for K-tips and then every 8 weeks for a weft that you get to keep, though. You know,
Okay.
so it ends up being around the same price, but people charge way more, way less. It depends on the
It just
person. You
depends.
make your own prices, so it depends on what you want to do.
I love that.
Yeah.
Wow. I might have to have you give me some
let's do
extensions.
it.
That would be kind of fun.
It's fun. It's fun for sure. I had a whole head of them that went down my hip. And it was the funnest I've ever had with my hair. I could do all different things. It was great.
I remember seeing you like
Yeah.
that. It looked great.
Yeah.
It
Long,
was
long
really
hair.
long.
I loved
long.
it. Yeah.
Oh, any damage to the hair?
If they're done correctly, you shouldn't have any damage. I think that people take care, I mean, again, horror stories on TikTok.
Yeah.
People don't take care of them properly at home, and they think that they are. And that's when you have breakage and your hair falling out. And I've had a couple situations where people will come and be like, my hair's blah, blah, blah. And then I explain to them what happened. They're like, oh, you're right. I did do that. I did do that. I'm like, yeah, you did. So that type of stuff. So I think it's a lot of at-home care. I mean, we only see you, if I'm doing your K-tips, I only see you every 4 months. I mean, I'm not washing your hair every day. I'm not
Yeah.
brushing your hair every day. So it depends.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
They extensions have been around a long time, different types, and there was times where they got a really bad rap.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of destruction to the hair.
Yeah.
but it's come a really long
Yeah.
way and it looks so great.
Yeah.
And you can rock them and talk about them.
Yeah.
Rock and
Right.
talk,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
You're not
It's not
afraid.
like a hidden thing
Yeah.
anymore. Yeah. Everybody talks about them. Everybody wants to show them off. So
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Really, that's great. Okay, let's get to money.
money.
How much can a hairdresser make, a busy hairdresser, solo, doing her own phone, her own booking system, all by herself? How much money can she make?
Easily 6 figures. Easily. It depends on the person, again, because everyone's prices are different. If you're pricing correctly and you're in the right spot and you're not being overcharged for where you work and all that stuff,
Yeah.
it depends if you have an assistant. If you have an assistant, you could take 2 people, but you also have to pay the assistant, So it depends. I think people are lazy and don't want to do I want to go to work and I want to come home and I don't want to text clients and I don't want to post on Instagram and all that stuff. I think being consistent and keeping up with clients and not waiting a week and a half to respond to
Yeah.
clients. And I think that makes or breaks
Yeah.
if you make it
you
in the
can
industry.
you can grow
Yeah.
really fast.
Yeah. Yeah.
People really want
It's a slow rise, but you got to stick with
and
it.
it ebbs and flows. We're going to
Yeah.
have slow times, and
Yeah.
I think we all just came out of kind of a slow time. Always in the beauty industry, everybody around taxes and people get their first credit card from Christmas, and
Yeah.
everything just kind of slows.
Yeah.
But they just extend their appointments. They never give up on them.
They're always coming.
It
always
is
going to get their hair
that
done,
and
yes.
alcohol.
Yeah.
That's recession proof,
Yeah.
right?
People will always find
Hair
a
and
way to
alcohol.
get their hair done.
I mean, even in
Always.
COVID, people were still getting their hair done and everything was locked down. So
Yeah.
it's crazy.
Well, you, Marissa, are inspiring, but you are who you are because of Mama Bear over here.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, I am.
She opened a door for you and you went through.
Yeah.
And now she's going to support you
Yep.
Yeah.
My
in your
manager and my
future.
babysitter.
There you go, your manager and your babysitter as you grow. And
Yeah.
I can't wait to continue to watch it because I'm impressed, and we need more young people in this industry with ambition and drive and faith in what they're doing and want to build a community and do things right and honest. It's really, you're really a dying breed. Although your generation is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Gen Zers are changing things. They're like swinging back. It's like the pendulum swing. The younger ones are hard workers, working in high school again, fast food, all that died for a long time, and
Yeah.
we're seeing a difference, and I'm inspired by it. And I'm inspired by both of you, and I hope you all were inspired by them. And if you want to check out, Mom is slowing down in the hairdresser world.
Everybody's
If
going
you
to her.
need a Mama Bear babysitter, though,
yes.
she'll be right there. She loves herself a
new
baby.
purpose.
Your new
My new
purpose in
purpose.
life. I love it.
Yeah.
And but if you want to check out Marissa and her work, she's here in Orange County, California, and I'm going to put all the information in the show notes. And I am blessed to have both of you in my life and treat both of you, because look how beautiful they are, right? They're my patients. They're
thanks to you.
gorgeous.
I
know.
They're gorgeous. And thank you for being here and taking the time
Of course.
to do this with me. I brought it up with you, and Marissa was like, sure. And then Mom found out.
Yeah.
She's like, okay.
I went home and I'm like, by the way, we're doing this with Jerry.
And Marissa's also been on some little clips in here. She as a patient, a pseudo patient on our fake filming day where we fake like we're doing treatments.
Yeah.
Because that's what TikTok is.
Content.
It's content day.
Yep.
So what we do at the end of the Beauty Outlaw is we always do a toast to new friendships,
fun.
new futures, and also just sharing you with the world. That's a hard thing to do. And you did it well, and you show grace, both of you, and others should aspire to be like you, both of you, in your lives and behind the chair. So here we go.
Awesome.
This is so fun.
Marissa's like, I'm coming back for part two.
Exactly.
So cheers to both of these amazing beauty ballers in the business. And thank you for being here. And I love you guys.
Cheers.
Chin chin.
Cheers. Cheers.
See you on the next Beauty Outlaw.